Peace and assalamu alaikum everyone. It's Mumtahana Ansari. How are you doing? So, if I guess some people may know, I am 48 years old. As of July 28th, I was born in 1972. Leo in the house. But yeah, being 48, I tend to be pretty introspective and pretty I analyze myself and my life a lot, and have always been that sort of a person. And now with me very quickly moving up on my half century mark, and just having become wiser in a lot of ways, you know I tend to reflect on things that I could have done differently in my life, or better choices I could have and should have made in my life. And so, I in my doing that, sometimes, I ask myself sort of that cliche question that people say, like, what would you tell your younger self? So I came up with just 10 things that I wish I could have told my younger self, or if like my younger self could like have gone through a time warp or a time machine and talk to me now, what advice would I give to myself? What good advice would I give to myself in hopes that I would actually listen? So these are just, again, a quick 10 things, or a mere 10 things, because I'm sure there's far more that I should tell myself if I could. So the first thing is, and they're in no particular order, I guess it's just how it came to me. So number one is, I would give myself permission to speak up and to also say no. This might just be a given for a lot of people, because a lot of people just learned early on, I guess, to do those things, but I did not. I was a very, very quiet and shy child, and I just, I used to get picked on a lot, which, coming up in at least the black community, people hiked on each other and stuff like that. It was just a given. It's what happened. But I definitely used to get picked on a whole lot for being high yellow and for also my hand being different. I used to get picked on a lot as a kid. And so for me, those things, and just my natural tendency to, you know, being a loner, and like I said, just being quiet and shy, was absolutely a bookworm. Um, I so I stayed to myself a lot, and I just didn't learn until really, I would truly say, like, really into my 30s, did I start to really gain a voice. And because I'm also very, like, empathetic, so, and I still have this issue, but the world teaches you and sort of forces you as a survival sort of mechanism to um, become, grow like a hard shell, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so my, like, being empathetic, I would feel bad, like, telling people no, or, I would get, like, I guess it's shyness. I don't know if it was nervousness or not, but certainly that shyness. And like I said, I just really didn't learn or have the courage, I guess. Like, I had a lot of courage in other things, and a lot of people probably, in fact, I've had lots of people tell me, like, yeah, right, you're not shy, because I do know how to move in the world. But people who are really close to me, which really just a few people, they understand, they know who I am as a person, the real me. And so, again, I would absolutely give myself permission to speak up and to say no. And I've made a point to be that way with my daughters in particular, because my sons, they don't, I don't really think that they, maybe one of them, maybe, but like maybe one of them a little bit. But for the most part, they didn't have that problem. Before my daughters, and one daughter in particular, because she's very sensitive, um, and she's, you know, my older daughter, and she's older, so my baby girl isn't really out there in the world. But my daughter, my older daughter, when she got her first job, I remember telling her, like, listen, you have the rights. If somebody tries to come on to you, whatever, because she worked in like this really big time thrift store where they were in the back, like sorting and things like that. So I mean, guys, I've been through all sorts of things with guys in my life, so far as abuse. And so you never know what somebody will try to do to her back there when nobody can see, you know what I mean? So I remember telling her, and I dropped her first day, like, you have the right to say no. If somebody try to touch you or whatever, let him know, don't put your hand on me no more. Like, I got brothers that will handle you. And, her being a teen, she was like, Ma, I know, you done told me this my whole life. But as I said to her, I think, as a woman, I think it's extremely important that we give our children permission, because especially younger children, I think and adults know this, which is how come they get to take advantage of children and young people so much. They have been taught so much to respect adults. Don't be disrespectful. Somebody, and an adult will make them feel like, oh, you can't tell me no, type of thing. So, they just get caught in that situation in that moment and get confused on what to do, and they're scared, and it's like, oh, I might get in trouble if I don't listen, or all these sorts of things. So I really absolutely would encourage anyone to give your children permission, have these conversations with them. But moving on, because I took a really long time on that. Number two, the second thing that I would tell myself is not to be nice to a fault, to have some balance. Again, I'm like super nice. I just am. And I like being super nice. Like, what's wrong with that? But, oh God, people have taken such advantage of me. I should say I allowed people to take such advantage of me over the years. I'm saying, like, recently, big, almost, And it's just because I'm nice. Even my children, we don't like look at material things in a particular way, or money in a particular way, or whatever. And I'm very much of the mindset of, if I have 2 pieces of bread, you can have one. You know what I mean? It's like, we both can like do this together. Again, I've said in other videos that I was born into the Nation of Islam. I've always just been bred with the idea of revolution and nation building and community upliftment and things, and that's really just how I have lived my life. I've been with grassroots organizations. I've done lots of things just on my own. You see something needs to be done, you do it. That's me. And so I'm just very, very, very giving, and I like being that way. I don't want to be one of those people who are like, they just, they've been beat in life, or sometimes people are just bred that way from, genetics or whatever, to a degree. But, they can just be mean and sort of non-giving, or, take advantage of people and things. That's not me, and I've always made a conscious decision to not be that. But I don't have balance a lot of the time, because I think too much. And actually, that brings me to the number 3. Don't overthink so much. Take more chances. And I have my motto is, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. I really do feel that way. And also, I my experience in life, I have a lot of faith in the Creator. Allah has always taken care of me and mine, and I just don't sweat things like, whatever. Like, say if I don't have the mortgage, I'm not tripping over it, because I'm like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get it. I don't know how I'm gonna get it yet, but I'm gonna get it. Things like that. I just don't trip over those type of things. So when things, if like bad things or negative whatever things happen, I'm very conscious of, it's gonna swing the other way. So I just gotta get through this. Work to get through it. I am a firm believer of, you have to not just sit around and wait for the Creator to do for you. You have to actually put work into something. So, but in saying that, I do tend to overthink things sometimes, because if somebody does something that other people might be like, oh no, you're not gonna do that, you're not disrespect me, and all this kind of thing, I start thinking about it like, well, it's just like that because he had a really rough upbringing, and I'm just gonna like be patient, because like, you just don't know, stuff like that. And then in the interim, I'm just steadily being taken advantage of, until the point when now I'm pissed, then I cut you off. I can absolutely cut somebody off with no problem, but it just takes time for me to get there, and that's just not good. Again, after that whole nice thing, I gotta balance it out some kind of a way. Number 4, do for myself as much or more than I do for others. That whole thing again, I really I listened to, I'm gonna do a video on this actually. The Mike Tyson hot boxing episode, that when he interviewed Bootsy Badass, he was kind of dropping some jewels, Mike Tyson that is. And one of the things that he said was like, had me like, whoa, what? Is, he and Boosie was saying how the first woman he fell in love reminded him of his mom, how she healed him and all that. And Mike Tyson said, like, we cannot make our, talking about men, we can't make our lovers into our mothers. And his reasoning was because your lover may do any and everything for you, but she's doing it for her survival or her benefit. Whereas your mother would do any and everything for you, but for your survival. And then it like clicked to me, like, that's exactly what my problem is, because I do any and everything just about for like my husband, whoever that I'm with, who I'm serious into. I'm not married right now, but I totally do it for their benefit, and with the idea that we're doing this as a family, we're going to build up as a family. Unfortunately, I've tried that a few times, and it has never worked out for me. Like, never worked out for me, because they don't have that in mind. They say they have it in mind. They say that's what the goal is, but it just doesn't work out to be that way. And so I put my all into something which ends up being beneficial primarily to them. And then when I leave them, then I'm just kind of ass out. Then I gotta like start over, and I always get on my feet really quickly and obtain far more than I ever would have with them on my own. But I like the idea of being in a marriage and a committed relationship and building together, because again, I have that revolutionary upbringing. And so this whole idea of building as a family, a black family, people talk all of that, but they ain't really about it. So yeah, I wound up doing far more for others, and that would absolutely be something that I would tell my younger self, babe, you gotta find a balance before you get to be 48. Number 5, don't be so trusting and giving. I pretty much have touched on that already with the other things. But yeah, I'm a very trusting person, which is ridiculous, because I should have learned by now you can't trust everybody. And I do know that. I do understand that. But I believe that people cannot always be judged on their past. And also, people can change. So I try, well, not just try, I give people the benefit of the doubt, which many times don't work out well for me. I'm really bad, but there has to be like a partner somewhere out there. But yeah, so I don't know. Number 6, pursue my degree and build a foundation for my future while I'm young. I, hey, there are teenagers up there standing on the rooftop of the building, and there's a boy on the edge. I hope nobody fall off of there and I have to see it. But anyway, I digress. So, pursuing my degree. When I was a freshman in high school, Central High, North New Jersey, I prior to that, a few years before that, I had been going to this school. It was called Project Link back then. I was called Link something. But I went there. It was a school for gifted and talented children, and it so happened I got in, but I was having a whole lot of problems in my life at that time in 7th grade. Then by 8th grade, my mother passed away, and by 9th grade, I was living with my aunt and went to Central for like the first part of the year before I moved back up to East Orange with my stepdad and my siblings. But in the 9th grade, I went back just to visit Project Link to see some of my old teachers who put me down on this whole watering school situation that I could win a scholarship for. And I won it. But my aunt at the time, who I was living with, she did not want me to take the scholarship. For whatever reason, she might have been afraid for me. I don't know what's going on out there. And quite honestly, in the 80s, I'm talking like 1987, going to college, at least where I'm from, was not a big thing. It was really when around 86 or 87 when A Different World came out and people started getting like thinking more about that, I guess. And but at that time my auntie was like, you ain't going nowhere. I really, really wish, like I wonder sometimes, had I gone away to school, gotten out the hood, gotten away from all the crack dealers and all that kind of thing, if things would have been different, had gone differently for me. I was 15 at the time. And, so I wonder about that. By the time I was 19, I had a child. I still could have pursued a degree, but I was just trying to, live at that point, make some money, all those things. And then I did, by the time I was maybe 22 or so, I registered at Essex County Community College, but I just didn't pursue it because that's a whole other story, but I didn't pursue it. And just so on and so forth. By the time I was 24, I was married. He wanted to open a restaurant. He already had an aromatherapy business that I jumped in and started helping with. Then he wanted to open a restaurant, so I was like, cool, we can open a restaurant. But then he didn't want me to go to school. It was just like always something. And it took me till I was 38 or 39 to go to school for nursing. I had years of entrepreneurism, so I know how to run a business and cook and all that kind of thing. But I could have done a lot more with my life. I could have obtained a lot more from my life, and I could have more for my children at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not complaining, I'm in a good place, but I could have been in a better place. So I would absolutely tell my younger self to go on and get that foundation. Like I try to tell my children now, the time to do that is when you're young. Because all these people we see that's big balling right now, Snoop, Quincy Jones, whoever, you know what I mean? Stevie Wonder, all these people, their foundation was set when they were young. Beyonce, all of them, when they were young. And then now they have the riches, they have, the prestige and all these sorts of things. But, they started young. And of course, you can start older and then have things, like I said, within like 6 years of leaving my ex-husband and relocating and absolutely starting over. I need to do that video too. I had it on another YouTube video before, but I erased it. I got rid of the whole channel. But yeah, I could have done more. Period. Move on. So, number 7, save money. Oh, save money so you won't be held in a relationship and because retirement comes fast. Woo, buddy. It absolutely does. Now, here's the thing. As I said, I was an entrepreneur for a lot of years with my first husband, and, we did well. The problem was he was in control of all the gosh darn money because, again, I'm thinking we're family building, whatever. And it was just so much child trying to get a penny from him. So when I left, I was just like, I need out. I'm not fighting for the house. I'm not fighting for anything. I just want my freedom. Kind of like a Tina Turner thing, except, well, she ain't leave anything either except her name. But when I left, I had nothing. And not only did I have nothing, since we were self-employed for so many years, I had nothing going into like a 401k or anything, So it's really like I started from my late 30s trying to obtain something. So I have no savings really, or I have no savings and really have no savings, nothing like that. I do have a home, but there's mortgage. That's another thing too. I don't really know. We're taught to go out and buy that house that, have something for your family and stuff, which I do not regret buying a home, simply because the last 2 places we stayed in, we had to leave because the last place, the people were supposed to be, they moved away to Florida. They were supposed to be gone. It was not going to be a problem with us staying here. He's like, as long as you're a good tenant and pay on time every month, you don't have to worry about anything. So I was like, cool. But she wound up getting pregnant, and they decided to move back home to be close with family. So I had to skedaddle. The time before that, the woman decided she sold the house within 6 months. So I was just like, I'm not good with people having control of my life like that. I had been in a situation being married, but that was bad itself. But certainly I'm not going to let somebody, I don't even know you like that. And I have children, I'm on my own. So, I prayed on it, and things just started doing like how Allah does. Everything was just moving. And I was able to close on the house when I was 44. And so yeah, but I can't really say necessarily that buying a home is the best thing because, one, it has its ups and downs. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that because I really don't like making these long videos. So yeah, I would save money so I won't be held in a relationship, because that's actually why I stayed in my marriage for so very long, because I was afraid to go anywhere. To like not be able to survive, because in New Jersey it's very expensive, and it's far more expensive now with the whole gentrification that has been taking place the last several years. I moved 10 years ago. So it's far more expensive down there now. And then, I was like, there's no way I can survive. Like, what am I going to do with the children? My children were young. Like, what am I going to do? I can't, like, get a job, pay rent, pay childcare. There's no way. And so I really just stayed in it because I was just like, I can't survive out there, until I was fed up. Like I said, when I'm pissed and I'm done, then I'm done. And, I just give it to Allah. Ask Allah to protect me and let me be able to take care of my family without having to go and beg to anyone or ask anyone for help. And that's what happened. So yeah, absolutely. And to save money up for retirement, because golly, before I know it, it's going to be here. Don't put off your dreams to push others' dreams, others forward. So very, I guess I've already touched on that some. I've absolutely done that, not just with the education, but even just wanting to have my own businesses. I've started a couple, and actually I'm working on starting a business right now, another business. But I put so many years, so much blood, sweat, and tears, man, I'm telling you, you do not know, into other people's dreams. Money, 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 money. So much money. So much time, like I said, so much sweat, so many hours for somebody else's stuff. Someone's who were not being honest and upfront with me, who were not respecting me, not really, who were not loving me, not really. And I just put all that into it, and I don't think that in itself is a bad thing. I still don't. I just really don't, because again, I believe in nation building. I believe in partnership and working together to build a family and to build, that generational wealth that people like to throw around as big branding or tagline or whatever you want to call it. I truly believe in those things, but the problem becomes the people that I choose don't really believe in that. It's just like a whole bunch of talk. So yeah, I would push my dreams forth. Don't hold on to guilt. Accept responsibility and then give it to the Creator. Child, I might as well be Catholic. You know how they say Catholic people, they live in this guilt thing? Yo, that's me. I'm working on it with myself, but one of the things I ain't gonna say all that. You don't need to know everything about me. But, yeah, that whole guilt thing, baby, that would eat my ass up. You hear me? I can accept responsibility with no problem, which is where the guilt comes in. And, but I tend to live in that, and I tend to try to make it right. Where, as so many times, I need to accept the responsibility, repent, make dua, or prayer, and give it to Allah. And keep it moving. But I don't keep it moving. Or I'll keep it moving, but I got that guilt by the hand, bringing it along with me. That's a no-no. I would definitely tell myself, babe, you're human. Get over it. You're going to mess up. It's just how it is. Ain't no getting out of it. You know what I mean? So I would definitely give that to my younger self. My older self. And number 10. Woo! Number 10. Take the time to build the spiritual relationship I've always wanted with the Creator. Yes, indeed. I have this lovely book called I forgot the name of it. It's I think it's a Sufi book, because the tenets and everything within it seem very tasawwuf to me, or Sufism. I learned about Sufism when I was a teenager, and it just always has felt good to me, and I've always wanted to perfect that spiritual connection to Allah within Islam through tasawwuf, but I've never actually disciplined myself well enough to do so. I absolutely would have would tell myself to sit, take a breath, take your time with Allah. And I think that would have been very, very good for me. I think I would be in a very different place, and and possibly would not have made the decisions that I made um, with the men in my life. Yeah, because I got with the men that I got with out of, not out of spiritual reasons, not out of lust reasons, but out of survival type reasons. Or I don't think survival isn't the right word either. Again, trying to make things right, and that was not good. And you know, I've landed on my feet each and every time, but child, I wouldn't have had to do a lot of stuff, or deal with a lot of things, or waste so much time had I developed that spiritual connection with Allah. I'm not just talking about making salat or fasting for Ramadan, or I'm talking about the deeper aspects of spirituality, of connection with the one, of being, because I think things that we typically do are very superficial, very topical, and that includes with myself. And I'm aware of these things. I am working on them. But again, not disciplining myself and working as hard as I should be. And then, once you, I guess, well, for me, let me say me, getting older, there's just more things that I have to deal with. But I'm a procrastinator. Yes, I am. I like just being in the moment. I like just chilling, listening to books or reading books or, stuff like that. And so I don't use my time wisely at all. That's that Caribbean. No, I'm playing. So, anyway, those are the 10 things that I would absolutely tell Lil Young Muta to do to, inshallah, have a better life. And I'm still working on this with my old self, trying to work on these things and make them better. Hopefully, some of you will take some of those things into advice or into consideration, and hopefully it'll help you. We have to think about ourselves first sometimes, and I don't necessarily know how to do that, but I'm working on it. So anyway, I'm out of here. It's getting dark, and thank you so much for your time. Assalamu alaikum.